Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany and this is my channel all about cross stitch. If you like what you're seeing, please like and subscribe down below so that way you can be notified the next time I upload and it'll push it out to more people who also like this content. I have my co-host here, Mr. Theo, and Miss Kim Kim. And we also hit 1,000 subscribers, which I think that is completely and utterly insane. And I just want to thank you all a whole lot. I never thought whenever I started doing this that people would really care what's going on and what I'm working on and things like that. So it's really, really awesome and I really appreciate it. What? Someone's down here like, Mom, give me attention. You're talking, but you're not paying attention to me. Anyways, so I just wanted to say thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. And like usual, I will go through my whips. I do not have any haul this month, other than, well, I bought one thing, and I started it. Well, I guess I did kit up 3 projects this month, but that's just beads and specialty thread for those 3 projects. And I think I started one of them. And there's really no need to show that because I think it was Lady Mirabilia, Lady Hara, Ophelia, and what was the other one I kitted up? There was one more I kitted up, but I can't remember what it is. But that's all that it was. And I mean, the beads go here in my bead storage thing, so they're already put away, and the specialty thread would just be, well, there's the tins that I stick the acrylic in, and then I guess the only thing that would be in their bags would be, if there's any Karen water lilies, that would be the only thing in the bag. But I started it'd be easier if I just look at my book because it tells me everything. And I didn't add that up. 1, 2, 3, 4. I started 4 different projects this month, which is nuts. And I'm gonna cut this out, so I'll be back for you guys in like 2.3 seconds. But I forgot to add up the month stitches, the last project I was working on, stitches, and then my yearly total of stitches. So I will be right back for that. Okay, I'm back. So this is what my month of July looks like. And let me tell you what, it was a productive month. It was kind of busy, but my husband and I took off last weekend and just sort of vegged out and did nothing all weekend, even though we had a bunch of stuff that needs to get done. But it was nice to have time to just relax. Anyways, so let's get on with the whips. And then I just close that again. So I'm not going to do this in any particular order. I'm just going to grab and go. I'll get the big one out of the way first. So this is a new start. I started this on the 30th. So I started this July 30th. This is what it'll look like when it's finished. So this is The Rose of Sharon by Mirabilia. My friend let me borrow this pattern. The same one that let me borrow Queen of Freedom and Lady of the Flag. She has a lot of the OOP charts. She collects them. So I am lucky enough that she'll let me borrow them and stitch them because I took so much great care of the Lady of the Flag and her Queen of Freedom pattern. She's let me borrowing other ones now. So I'm super excited for that because there's quite a few of the OOP charts, out of print charts, in case anybody doesn't know what that is. And I want to stitch them. And there's quite a few of them that she has that I want. She also has some like butternut rose, lavender and lace, and things like that she also has. So I'm going to be going stash diving in somebody else's stash and seeing what I can borrow. But anyways, this is Rose of Sharon. And I got 1,602 stitches on it. Now, the Rose of Sharon does not have any beads. So I dyed this piece of 32 count stitcher on. The only thing that I hate how thin it is. Like you can see me through it. Let me this one's not see-through. There we go. But that is what she looks like. And I'm just working on the very, very top section of it for right now. And we'll get there. I'm trying to decide whether or not I am going to continue stitching on this day, because it only got 2 days worth of stitching, and usually I stitch on things 5, but this month has been weird where how many projects did I stitch on? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I stitched on 8 projects, and pretty much I went, I don't know, I would just get sick of stitching on what I was stitching on, and then I'd just be like, I don't have to, like, it's not one of my rules, like that's one of my biggest rules, is not to force myself to do something if I'm not enjoying it. That's the whole point of me cross stitching. So it's just been kind of weird because there's been a couple of them that's made it like mostly 5 days, but you know, maybe it's been like, some have been like 3 days of stitching on it before I'm like, all right, I'm done. Some have been like on the 5th day and I'm struggling through it, and within like maybe 2 hours of stitching, I'm just like, you know what, I'm done. Like, I'm switching over to something else, and I just start stitching on a different project that day. So that's kind of been what has happened this month. And I also forgot to say, because I'm not sure, it doesn't sound echoey to me in here, but it may whenever I go to edit this, because yesterday I took out our giant area rug that's in this room. It's all vinyl flooring in here. And I took out the area rug like I do every year and take it outside and scrub the heck out of it and make it look brand spanking new again. And it's hanging up and it's drying right now. And if I was smart, I would have did that last Saturday or Sunday, but I didn't think about it until I got Vincent on Sunday night, and then I had him until Tuesday night. So Tuesday, right after he left, like I rolled the rug up and put it outside because it was pouring outside, and I just hang it over a giant banister. It doesn't touch the ground or anything, so it's not a big deal if it's out there around like it's raining. Just to sort of give it a pre-soak, if you want to call it that. And then the next day I ended up scrubbing it, which was yesterday. So if it's a little echoey in here, that's why. Anyways, so that is the Rose of Sharon, and that's as far as I got. I still think it's funny. You can see my shirt through it. But that's the fabric I dyed for it. It's gray and blue and sort of has this weird sky effect. And that's another thing. I'll put the picture of the finished piece back up. The insides of the columns aren't stitched. You see how they aren't stitched? And with this fabric, I kind of want it to just be the sky. And I might even, like, at the very bottom, just add some mixtures of, like, the greens that they have growing on, the green for the leaves and stuff that they have on to the arch there. I might add some of those at the bottom so that way it looks like grass, so that way whenever it's framed, it'll look more like a complete picture. Do you guys think that's a good idea, or is that just adding unnecessary stitching for me? I don't know. Tell me down below what you guys think, because I'm undecided on it, because I started doing it with Garden Prelude, and it's one of the reasons I get annoyed with stitching it is because there's so much of one singular color. But I know once it's finished, it'll look really good. And I have a feeling that it'll be the same thing with this. And there's no beading or anything with this, so I should be able to finish it fairly quickly. I mean, not too quickly, because now that my friend knows how I take care of her patterns and stuff, you know, she's like, you don't have to hurry to get these back. I understand that you will, you know, make the working copy and you will put this up and keep it in safe condition. So I don't have to rush through any patterns anymore. So, I mean, I'm not going to keep it forever, but, yeah. Anyways, so tell me what you think about that idea down below. I know it would look stunning if I did it. Maybe I could just add back stitching with those colors to make it look like blades of grass. I don't know. Share your ideas down below for me, okay? Thanks. All right. Being this one is already in my lap, we will start this one. This is Mermaids of the Deep Blue. And here is what it will look like when it is finished. And here is where you saw it last time. And here is where she is now. I guess I don't need it. I mean, we've still got a long way to go. But I think we're almost at the halfway point, if I remember right. I'll just fold it like that, so we'll get you guys up closer. Now, I did not do the 1/1 skin for this. I just did 2/2. And you know what? I really don't think it looks bad. But I will say, I do, in fact, prefer the 1/1 stitching. I do. So, everything is... Let me look at it. Oh, no, I didn't finish the beading down here at the bottom. Or the stitching. But from where the other girl is equal, everything from there up... Let me see if I can hold this in one hand here. Everything from right here, so all along there, and up is backstitch, beaded, everything is finished. So, we're getting there, slowly but surely. And this is on 28 count, and it's all stitched 2/2 this time, so that's kind of a weird thing to say, and everything's called for on this. I didn't do any crazy changes or anything with that one. All right. Does it bug you guys whenever I have to lean down here and grab this stuff? I will take a scan of that and put it into my computer, so. All right, so here is the next one. No, I won't. This is by, this is a realist kit, and it's called Yorkshire Terrier, which, if anybody knows, those are what my 2 puppies are. And I saw it, and I said to myself, yep, I have to have it. And of course, this is all those wool threads. I took it off because it comes on those little, like bobbin card things, the big long ones. And I prefer floss straps, so I put everything on floss straps and just put like the number there associated with and stuff for the chart. But I'm not a huge fan of stitching with the wool. I don't know, it's just a different kind of stitch. And it is on 14 count white Zweigart Ada, and I got, Mermaids of the Deep. I didn't even tell you. I got 3,758 stitches on that one this month. All right, now back to this one. This is where I got. I'm sorry, guys, but I don't iron anything until I've washed it and finished it. So I got 1,961 stitches on this one. And it's coming along, but like I said, I'm not a big fan. One, I prefer my pattern just being black and white, and the pattern that they sent is colored. So for me, it gets hard to follow it, if that makes sense. And then usually I don't mark up the original pattern, but usually I'll put my patterns on here and use Samsung Notes to mark it off, things like that. But I've done that, and that's what's got me this far so far. But it's, unless I have the opacity up on the highlighter to 100%, because of the color, it makes it hard to cover it without the highlighter being up to 100% capacity to fully cover it. So it essentially makes it like a marker instead, where you're just sort of canceling it out. And that is frustrating because I like being able to see the symbols and stuff behind it, because whenever I'm stitching in a certain area or whatever, like I can somewhat remember what color that, like in general vicinity of like, was there not, it was a dark brown, a light brown, a tan, a white, a red, so on and so forth for that color. Not necessarily the exact color, but a generalization of what that color was. So that way whenever I'm stitching, and because I sort of do like cross country, but like in an area, and so like I do use like quote unquote landmark stitching, where so that way, you know, I can compare like, okay, this looks exactly like what's on there, that's where this stitch goes, instead of so much counting. For a little while, it takes a while. Once you get like an area like this, I don't need to count. I can use essentially landmarks and then the colors that are on here to know where the next stitches go. And with this pattern, because I have to cross everything out, I can't see what the symbol was before it, so it's I don't know what color it was, so I really have to pay attention and just do landmark stitching, minus adding the color in my brain to figure out where I need to go next. So it makes it a little more difficult to stitch this, but a lot of other people prefer color patterns, so it's just a me thing. And I mean, it's not a bad stitch. The wool threads, I have to make them shorter than what I usually do because they get fuzzy. There's no other way to put it. Anyways, on to the next one I worked on. This is Stargazer, and this is what she will look like when she is finished. And this is where you guys saw her last time. And this is where she is now. So, yep. All the big chunks are beaded, and I start working on the other side. So she stitched on 28 count, hand dyed by me, and I stitched 2,302 stitches on her this month. So we're working on, let's see if we can get her held up here, this section here now. So we'll get there eventually. 1/1 skin, everything else is 2/2. Yep. She's gonna look gorgeous on this fabric. I'm so glad that I sort of did like an ombre effect with it. So that way she's facing up in the lightest part of the fabric. And who's on McToozle? I think she was one of the ones that, yeah, I only stitched on her for 3 days. She was one of the ones where I finished that one whole section, and I don't know why, but it was just felt like a daunting task of starting the new section and recounting, because I gotta recount, and then once you get the first couple colors in, after that you can just do landmark stitching and recognizing the other colors and things like that, and it's not that big of a deal. But I just didn't feel like doing it, so I switched. I did say I did 2,302 stitches on her, I think. I think I said everything. I think I'm doing okay this video, although this shut off to help remind me of the things I'm supposed to be doing. But it doesn't always work. Alright. Lady, the flag is not what's in this bag. This is Mirabilia, the baker's wife. And this is the one that I am doing a conversion on. And it's called the Delft Blue conversion by, I think it's Renee Simpson. But I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. And you can get it on the Mirabilia Full Conversions group on Facebook if you want to. Just look up, I think it was in the files, if I remember right. But you can just look up Baker Wife, the baker's wife, and a ton of different conversions will pop up. But this is, well, this is where you guys saw her last time. And this is where she is now. We are getting there. I remember completing some of this over here. And she was another one. Let me look on here. Yep, I only worked on her. I worked on her a total of, it would be a total of 6 days. But I stopped and stuck another project in between there, where 2 of the days were hardly any stitching at all on her. So probably more like 4. But that's where I got. And then it's just another case where, you know, this was a lot of, there's a lot of confetti in there, and I just didn't feel like doing it. So, oh no, I did buy 2 things this month. Because I'll show you guys that in a little bit, but it's also another one that I bought and started because I've been waiting for this design to come out. 28 count. This is not dyed at all. It's just plain white fabric. 1,764 stitches is all I got in there, and everything is stitched 2/2 on that one. I didn't do the skin or anything. That is fancy. Alright, we'll do the last one that I know has progress on it. The other 2 are new starts. Alright, so this is Roses of Provence. Here's a picture of what it looks like when it's complete. And here is a picture of what it will look like when it is finished. And here's what she looks like now. She is stitched on 28 count, hand dyed by me. It is a very, very pink fabric. And I'm trying to remember what I was stitching. I feel like it was somewhere over in here. I feel like it was all over in here. Because this is one of the ones that I did at the beginning of the month. But she got 3,040 stitches. And I will do the 1/1 skin for this one. I think this is where her skin starts. I was just finishing this part of the dress before I went up and finished her. And I've watched a lot of people do this one. And quite a few of them have misplaced where her, I think it's the rose tree that's standing next to her, if I remember right. A lot of people have misplaced that, and it's like screwed up part of the bottom of her dress. So what I might do is stitch her and her dress and wait until I get to the bottom of the dress, and then make sure I get the actual place of where the rose tree goes, and stitch that the rest of the way back up. Because usually I like to start from the top and work my way down. So that way, my theory is, and the reason why I try and stitch from the top down, is when I'm stitching from the top, I go from the top to the bottom. So as I go down, at no point in time is my skin ever resting on stitches I've already completed. Because right now, if I'm not doing a stitch with me video or anything like that, I have a piece of felt that I lay over top of my stitches until I get to the top of a design if I can't start at the top. And I've got to start in the middle to make sure that it is centered. So I have a piece of felt that I'll lay out over stitches that I've already completed as I go up. And that helps keep it pretty gosh darn clean. But, I mean, I still sit here, I'm showing you guys that I'm touching it. But I know I just washed my hands and things like that. But that's really the only worry with this is I'd have to, whenever I go to stitch up, I'm going to have to protect all those stitches again, which is kind of a pain in the butt. But I think to make sure that it is placed on there right is going to be worth it. And I think I did say 3,040 stitches is what I got on this one this month. Okay, the last two are new starts. This one won't be a surprise to anybody that I started with. It just won't. So this is Lady, is it Hira? Or Hura? I'm not sure. But it's by Mirabilia. And this would be up. So this is what she'll look like when she's finished. And this is where I got to, which is just, well, let me move this out of the gosh darn road. The curtain part. That's it. That's all I got stitched. And it's 28 count. Course hand dyed by me. We'll pull back so you can see. And this one, listen, I love peacocks. And this one has a peacock in it. So I was just like, yeah, that's made for me. And I think she also has on a yellow dress. Yellow is my favorite color. So I was like, I think this pattern's just sort of, you know, made for me. So we're going to stitch around here and see how it goes. And right now there's just 2/2 stitching on her because all I've got is the drapes that are behind her started going. And I started her July 10th. I worked on her for 1, 2, 3, 4 days because one day I didn't get to work on her. We were running 16 different directions. Alright. This next one is one that I bought this month and started this month. So this is the 2024 Nutcracker by Shannon Christine Designs, and here's what it'll look like when it's finished. And here's where I got to. And this one is also stitched on 32 count. You can see that I just started him in a hoop because the baker's wife I had stuck in the frame. And I didn't want to pull the baker's wife out to start on this because I knew that I wasn't finished stitching on the baker's wife. So I was like, I haven't started adding the beads or anything to this, so I can just start where like I need to and stitch it all out. And I was able to fit the top half of it in. So this is the top half of the pattern. And it's fully beaded and ready to go. We just got to give them some legs. And we will get there. So that was sort of like my Jolly July stitching. And I just keep him in the same bag as his, you know, brother. The 2023 Nutcracker. And I didn't stitch on this one, but here's the 2023 Nutcracker. Now this one is stitched on 28 count. This one is stitched on 32 count. See him? Can you see the size difference? This one is just tilting funny. Here we go. And I know I should have probably done it on the same size fabric and everything else, but I feel like if I'm gonna do a bunch of these little nutcrackers for the next, who knows how long she's going to have them out, I kind of want to do them in different sizes. And I might do the 2025 and 36 count, and I know the beads won't fit perfectly on that, but the beads don't fit perfectly on the 32 count that's dyed either. So, I mean, I can just omit a couple of the beads and things like that and just shuffle it around. Just so that way, whenever I do hang them up for Christmas time, it's sort of like a variety of, and not all the, like, can you imagine trying to hang, let's say she did this for the next 10 years. Can you imagine trying to hang 10 the size of this one? No. In my house for Christmas? No. It's not going to happen. Oh, I also have an FFO. A fully finished object. That I gotta go get because I challenged my husband to hang my finished pieces that are in frames up. And guess what? He finally got them all hung up. And this month I found the perfect frame for this girl. And I knew it was going to be just a touch too small, but I put it in there so that way it was just the bottom, probably 5 stitches at the bottom that were missing, which doesn't take away from it at all. So I didn't really care, but I knew it was the right frame. So I'm going to go get that off the wall. I will see you again in 2 seconds for you, but a few minutes for me. Also, last 2, I didn't tell you the stitch count on them. Lady, I think it's Hara. She got 1,892 stitches. And the Nutcracker got 3,335 stitches. Just so you guys know. And for the month, I stitched 19,654 stitches. And for the year, I've stitched 129,442 stitches. Alright. Now to stop making you guys wait so you guys can see this. She's in a very heavy frame, so, and it's huge, so hopefully I can get her all in here. We might have a glare, but here is Lady of the Flag framed. And you see how down here, right in here, just like I said, like 5 rows of stitches are missing. And I really don't think it takes away from it because I literally made it so that way the very top of the flag and her torch are just in frame. So, and I don't think she looks bad in here. And I think this frame fits her. It's sort of ornate and sparkly and pretty. So, she fits. I did it. And I like her in this frame. It looks good. And every time I look up, I'm looking at my TV because I cast my camera onto my TV. So that way I can see what you guys see. And so I'm always like, am I in frame? And I'm always looking up to make sure that you guys are seeing what you're supposed to be seeing. And she's so pretty that I like looking at her up there. She's gorgeous in this thing. Now, I'm going to go set this thing. Come on. As I said, I don't really have haul this month, except for those 2 things that I bought, and then the 3 projects I kitted up. I wish I could remember what the 3rd project was that I kitted up, because I can't remember. But anyways, as for what's happened this month. So, I'm not sure what that was that fell, but I'll figure it out later. Ow, Theo. The dogs just went to the groomer, so their nails are sharp. Anyways, so at my mother-in-law's house, the one that we renovated, and you guys got to see us do that, we literally just got done last month clearing out all of the trees out of that backyard. I mean, it was probably cleared out for a little over a week before this happened. But anyways, we had to take out both trees that were in the backyard. Now, normally because they were that far away from the house, I would have left the trees. But the giant maple that was still alive was pushing into the neighbor's garage and eventually was going to push it off. I mean, it was, the way it was growing, it was going to eventually grow into their garage. So it had to come out before we would be responsible to replace their garage. So we went ahead and took it out before it ruined their garage. And then the other tree was an old pine tree that was in that yard, but it wasn't alive. And it was in really bad shape at that point. So it's not like we could have saved it or anything. And there were power lines and stuff right there. And my husband and I decided, one, it was going to cost us a lot of money to get the tree removed because of the power lines that were all through that gosh darn thing. But we knew it needed to come out before, we lived down in a valley. So a lot of times when we get big giant storms, we'll get a lot of winds whipping through here. So we can get, 60, 70 mile per hour winds. And we run a huge risk if we didn't take down the tree, that it would knock down the power lines there. So we decided to remove that tree, and we got all of the brush and everything from that tree, from both of those trees, completely and utterly cleaned up and taken out of there, I think at the end of June. And then we had a sort of like, I guess we just kind of call it like a windstorm, because there wasn't really any rain or anything that happened that day. We just had high winds, and the neighbor behind her, the way that this place is set up is weird. The neighbor behind her had 3 additional dead pine trees like the one we had in that yard, and they were all along there. And the wind blew off the top half of these pine trees, and these pine trees were old and humongous. And of course it blew and fell onto the power lines. And you know how you have the electrical meter that's on the side of your house, and then you have a giant thick wire that runs up, and you have the weatherhead that connects, and then your power lines go out, and then you have the bottom of the power line that goes down and in and into the fuse box inside the house. Well, when that tree fell, it ripped that whole entire thing, meter and all, the whole way down to where it would go into the house, into the fuse box. Thankfully, it just ripped it off the house and not out of the fuse box itself. So that didn't need fixed. But when it ripped it off the house, it cracked the casing that holds all those wires and stuff in there that make it, a big wire. And now we have to call an electrician to come and replace all that. So that's going to be fun. We were able to get a hold of the fire company and the electric company and had them all come out. And the wires were live, obviously, and there wasn't a risk of it, catching fire. But of course, the fire department had stayed until the electric company got there and killed the power. And it didn't just rip our meter off; it also ripped the neighbor's meter off their house. So, which was a different neighbor that sits right next to her instead of behind her. And because of their fenced-in yard, we couldn't see if it also ripped the meter off of their house or not. Which I don't think it did, because I don't think their power lines attach from that line. But I'm not 100% sure, because that's the only line that runs back behind those houses, so it's possible. But either way, we couldn't see, so hopefully it didn't do any damage to their house or not. But it's going to be a pain in the butt, because we got to talk to the owners of the house behind there and see if they have insurance or not, because it's going to be quite expensive to fix that line. And it's not our fault that it came off and cracked the casing, and because it was ripped off the house. So we will see how that goes, but hopefully we're probably going to have to pay for it at first, and then hopefully it can be settled with the insurance companies, but we will see. So our fair was moved. Usually our fair always starts the first week of, actually normally it would be going on right now. It would have started on the 28th, but they went with a new ride company, which was fantastic because last year they had like 3 rides, and that was it. And that's not what our fair looks like. We have a very large fairgrounds, so we can hold a lot of rides. So they went with a different company. So the fair started on the 12th. And the reason why I didn't get anything stitched on the 12th, because I should have been working on Lady Hara, and I couldn't because we went to the fair that day, and we went to Grandma Joanne's that day, so we were having a blast. And then on July 13th, we started doing the backsplash in Grandma's kitchen. Lydia, you can come down the stairs. It's okay. Just don't stomp down them, please, okay? We started doing the backsplash in her kitchen, but it's just been insufferably hot, well up into the stinking 90s, and if we're lucky, into the 80s in the evenings, versus where we're used to, max mid to low 90s, and then hitting somewhere in the 70s overnight. But it's been so humid and so hot. But it's just been too hot to work outside, so we were like, all right, we're going to stay inside and work on the backsplash. And we almost have that completed. Damon had his 18th birthday party and his graduation, so he's officially 18 years old and graduated, and it's all done. And then on July 15th, we had our fair parade, and I believe I've told you guys this before. Our fair parade is it starts at 6 o'clock, and it'll end around 11 or so at night. I mean, it's an extremely long fair parade. So I took Vincent and Lydia down to that, and we had Grandma Sue came with us too. So we just went down to her house and then had dinner and stuff with her. Of course, I brought dinner for my crew and her, and I just made it there at the house and cleaned up. So that way we could, all go up to the fair, because she was excited that she was actually downtown again, and we could go to she lives 2 blocks away from a part where the fair parade goes through. So we went up there and we sat, and we had a lot of fun doing that. And then afterwards it was fireworks, and then after the fireworks, the fire trucks go, because we live right next to the fairgrounds and the fire station. The fire trucks from all the fire, because it's called the Fireman's Parade, so it has fire trucks like crazy from, towns all over central Pennsylvania. All over the place come to be in the parade, because a lot of people will donate at that point in time, and most of our firefighter companies it's all volunteer based. So it's one way that a lot of them can get donations and things like that. And so anyways, after, they all sort of meet over at the firehouse that's right here next to my house. And then once the fireworks are done, they go siren screaming and going up and down and, just blowing off steam. What else happened? Oh, July 23rd, Damon went down to his ear doctor. He's got a full clean bill of health. Everything is great. And I thought it was hilarious because that was, I guess they had a bunch of appointments canceled that day. So it was really odd, because usually we have to wait there for an hour before we get seen. And, we got there 30 minutes before his appointment, and, we didn't even get a chance to sit down before they were taking us back into the doctor's office. So we actually got to leave Pittsburgh before his appointment time even was, and was heading back home. So that was a really odd experience, but it was great because we were all exhausted and tired anyways, and we're ready to come home and stuff. But it was funny because his doctor didn't have any of his fellows, and if you don't know what that is, it's sort of like students and stuff like that, and other doctors come in, and student doctors that are also specializing in just the treatment of the ear to come in and look at this, because he was like, I'm so proud of this. He's like, I couldn't be, he's like, nobody's going to believe me when I tell them what this ear looks like. So, but Damon's got his clean Bureau of Health. We don't have to go back down there until January. That same day, my sister went and picked up a goat. Her name is Cookie, and she's a pygmy goat. And she was keeping it in her fenced-in area around her house until because they have a pole barn, and she didn't have the right fence for it out there. So they had all the stakes and everything, but all they had was chicken wire. So she was waiting to go get different fencing to stick the goat in its pen out by the barn. And her husband decided, oh no, the chicken fence would be fine. It'll be fine. No big deal. So he put her out there and fenced it in with the chicken fence. And I was just like, chicken fence, it's really bendable. Like, what do you mean you're sticking a goat behind that? With, they have horns. Like, they could easily rip that apart. Anyways, so they went to work Thursday. He finished doing it Wednesday. Put her in her pen on Wednesday. He went and checked on her because she feeds him in the morning. But he went and her husband went and checked on her Thursday morning, and the goat was there and made sure he got her water and made sure she was fed and everything. And they went to work. I didn't have Vincent. Or did I have Vincent? No, I don't think I have Vincent. But anyways, so they went to work. And he gets home from work before she does. And the goat was gone. And she doesn't call me until Friday morning to let me know that the goat's gone. And asking, can I come up and help her? And I was like, yeah, let me call Grandma Joanne first, because today's Friday, and that's the day that we always go over to Grandma Joanne. It's what we call Grandma Joanne Day. We go over and do all that stuff. And we already knew we were taking this past weekend off because our kids wanted to go swimming. We hadn't been able to go swimming yet, and we didn't go swimming a whole lot last year because we're just so busy trying to get this house completely done that we just don't have enough time to do everything. So we had already planned on taking off this past weekend so that way we could do stuff with the kids and things. So I was like, I'm supposed to, go over to Grandma Joanne's, take care of her and things like that. And I was like, so let me call Grandma Joanne and make sure that's alright, because then that would screw up my timeline for Saturday, because I'd have to move Grandma Joanne from Friday to Saturday, and that was the day that I wanted to take the kids swimming and everything else. And she's like, okay. And I called Grandma Joanne, and Grandma Joanne said, oh yeah, that's fine, like that's more important to go find this gosh darn goat, because where she lives there's a lot of coyotes and stuff. And if we didn't find this, like, we were praying that she made it through the night because there's so many coyotes out there. And the sooner we could find her the better. So then I called my sister Charlie back and let her know that, Grandma Joanne said it was fine. It's more important to go find this darn goat and stuff. And she ended up yelling over the phone, like, Vincent, get out of the pool. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right, you have a pool. Do you care if I bring Abigail and Lydia up and let them swim? And Ray can sit there at the house with them, and Vinny can swim with them, and that'll entertain those guys. And me and you will just go out goat hunting. And she's like, yeah, that's fine. So we took everybody with us and threw the kids in the pool. And then my husband, Ray, sat there and watched them all while we went all over the Garstrom place looking for a goat. But anyways, so her and I, like, we are probably 3/4 of a mile away from her house, going through all these strip-ins, going through, there were a couple different neighbors that had goat, checking on there. My sister was like, I don't want people to get upset that we're in their yard or whatever. And I'm like, sure. Like, there is a law stating that if you've lost an animal, that you are allowed to go, even on property that says no trespassing, to try and see if you can retrieve the animal or not. So I was like, if somebody has an issue or anything, most of the time, you just be honest with them. Like, I'm so sorry, I've lost my goat. Here's a flyer of what she looks like. My number's on there. If you see her on your property, can you please call me and I will come immediately and pick her up. So most people aren't going to give a crap once they realize that you're going out and you're just trying to find your lost pet. That's it. And but she was nervous about the whole thing, and I was like, there's no reason to be nervous or anything about it. It's not a big deal. So, ooh, excuse me. So we're probably about 3/4 of a mile away from our house, literally standing in this field with brush up to our waist, trying to find a goat that is smaller than the height of the brush, which makes it really hard to find this gosh darn goat. And, you know, calling for her. I mean, if people were driving past, they probably thought we were idiots out there screaming Cookie. They probably thought we were drunk or something. But my husband ends up calling me, and I don't know how, like, I had service the whole way out here, but what I did, and was like, hey, your parents are at the house. So it's me and my sister's parents are at the house. And I put them on speakerphone, and I said, Mom and Dad are back at the house to my little sister. And she was like, oh my God, they were coming up here to see the goat. And she's like, I've been so upset trying to, because the night before, I mean, she was out until 10:30 or so, like, trying to find this goat, and couldn't find the gosh darn goat. And she's like, oh my God, I've been so stressed out and trying to get people up here to help me find this goat, and nobody will come up here and help me find this stinking goat. And she's like, I just completely and utterly forgot to call them and let them know that, like, the goat got out. And I was like, all right. And we were in such a hurry to get out there, we forgot to bring water with us, which was just stupid because it's like 90 some stinking degrees outside. It's hotter than heck, and the humidity is ridiculous. So it's like, you know, like, we need to head back anyways, and we need to, you know, get some water. And I was like, obviously this direction, like, you know, we've looked pretty good. Let's start going in a different direction and see if we can find her that way. Just so that way, you know, we're trying to slowly spread out from away from the house to see if we can try and find her. Because this goat, she was like, it's like a dog. It's so friendly. It loves people. Like, she was completely and utterly devastated that, you know, the darn thing got out. And so we're going back, and we got back to her house, and we got something to drink, and we relaxed. And I don't remember what it is, but my mom was laughing really loud. And then next thing you hear is my dad say, oh my God, there's a goat coming across the road. Which is, the goat came from the opposite direction we were looking. So that whole thing was futile because we were on the opposite way. But anyways, the goat comes running across the road and into the yard, and just sort of like stands there waiting to get let into the fence inside of the house. And we were like, Cookie, where in the heck were you? And like, we were super happy that she wasn't injured at all. Nothing got to her. She was completely and utterly fine. And she came home all on her gosh darn own. But the only thing we can figure is that she loves people. So it's probably the fact that, like, there was my mom, my dad, my sister, my husband, me, plus 3 of the kids all outside. And we were all kind of being, like, loud and laughing and telling jokes and things like that. Trying to keep my sister in good spirits because she was pretty upset. Trying to essentially distract her from being so upset. And I don't know, it was probably just the noise from all that. And because of the way Cookie loves people, she was probably like, I need to come over here and join this party. So the goat ended up coming back. And we got her inside the fence. And of course, you know, my sister's like half in tears, like loving her gosh darn goat and giving it treats, and was like, Cookie, don't you ever do that again. And, but anyways, we got the gosh, we found the goat, but really honestly, the goat found us, sort of situation. And, so yeah, that happened. We found Cookie. She was perfectly fine. Nothing hurt her. And she loved all the attention for the rest of the day. And my sister made a joke, like, it's about time you showed up to your party. She's like, typical girl, showing up late. So that was the 26th that we went on that adventure to find Cookie. So, on the 27th is when I pulled out Stargazer, and if you saw on the picture of the last time you guys saw it, the very bottom portion of that, where it wasn't all filled in, it had, I think, like 2 colors in there, I had to frog all of that out. Except for maybe like 100 stitches of that, because at some point in time at the very top, I don't know how I did it, but I skipped an entire row of stitches. and it was just in this one section, and unfortunately everything else, because that would have been the closest part to the last part that I stitched, it would have been one of the first things I stitched. So that meant everything else down below it was completely and utterly off. And I'm like, I triple checked that thing like 600 times to make sure that, trying to not have to frog that much. But it didn't matter. Everything was counted off that, so I got screwed up. So I had to frog all of that out. But as you saw with Stargazer, I got it all fixed. It's not that big of a deal. And then yesterday, me and my girls, every time I film this, I get the yawns. And I don't know why, because I'm not tired. And it's 9:40 in the morning and 9:45 in the morning. And like, I just got up 2 hours ago. Like, it's not even like I've been awake for a while or have a reason to be tired. But yesterday, my girls and I, Vinny and my little sister, went on a trip to go get another gosh darn goat. So, he's all white goat, and his name is Sugar. So we have Sugar Cookie now. Sugar and Cookie. But, my sister got the goat home, and she's like, this goat's sick. Which you have to quarantine the animals for, I think it's at least 2 weeks. I'm not sure. Okay, she's the one that does, like, I love animals. I love going up there. She's got ducks and chickens and goats, and, you know, she's got all the animals up there. I love going up there and playing with them and hanging out with them, but I don't want the responsibility anymore of mucking out stalls and, you know, waking up early to feed them all and water them all and do all the care. Like, I am satisfied with just my doggos. But anyways, so yeah, so, we went with her to get another goat, and after she got it completely home, she's like, I'm pretty sure this goat is sick. So she's supposed to be taking that goat today over to her vet's office to, get things tested out to find out what's going on. But right now it's quarantined. So we got another goat. Well, she got another goat, but we went on an adventure to get another goat. But this time we didn't have to, you know, truck through the woods and strippings and the brush that's taller than us. I think I had like burdocks in my hair and everything else. I was so mad at myself. I was like, I can't believe I forgot a hair tie. Like, I was in such a hurry to get out of here and go up there and help her find that stupid goat. But anyways, that is everything I have for you guys this week. Or this month, this week. Where is my brain today? Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.